Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Two opposition legislators in Trinidad questioned by police over corruption allegations as a Queen's Counsel faces the court on corruption conspiracy charges. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Thursday, May 2nd from the CMC News Center in Bridgetown. I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. Former Trinidad and Tobago Attorney General Anand Ramlogan and Attorney Gerald Ramdean remained in police custody on Thursday, more than 24 hours after being detained for questioning in connection with corruption allegations. Ramlogan was arrested Wednesday morning as he was about to board a flight at the Piarco International Airport. Ramdean, a United National Congress UNC senator, subsequently turned himself into police after hearing there was a warrant for his arrest. Their homes, along with Ramdean's law offices, were searched late Wednesday by police from the Anti-Corruption Investigations Bureau. That agency is spearheading a probe into a series of financial transactions involving legal fees during the period that Ramlogan served as Attorney General under the previous administration. During his 2010 to 2015 tenure, legal fees paid by his ministry ballooned from an average of 30 to 40 million TT dollars to an average of $1.4 billion. While the two remained in custody up to news time, it was revealed that a Queen's Counsel, who represented the UNC government in several cases, is planning to become a witness for the prosecution. Jamaican-born Vincent Nelson appeared in court on Thursday to face 3 charges of corruption conspiracy. It's alleged that he conspired with Ramlogan and Ramdean to receive, conceal, and transfer criminal property. He's also accused of conspiring with the two for Ramlogan to misbehave in public office and conspiring to corruptly give Ramlogan rewards as Attorney General. When the matter came up before Port of Spain Chief Magistrate Maria Busby Earl Cattle, Director of Public Prosecutions Roger Gaspard asked that it be sent to the High Court for a plea agreement to be heard within 14 days. Nelson was granted his own bail in the sum of 100,000 TT dollars. Speaking at the weekly post-cabinet press briefing later in the day, National Security Minister Stuart Young confirmed the plea arrangement.
It is actually the utilization of the plea bargaining legislation that was recently passed by the Parliament and driven by this government. So Vincent Nelson did enter into a plea bargaining process, and my understanding is he was formally charged, he has pleaded guilty, entered into a plea bargaining process, and there's a sentencing that's to take place.
Attorney Tom Allen QC had also told the court that since October 2017, his client has been fully cooperating with the prosecution at an unprecedented level and has given several witness statements knowing fully well he has incriminated himself. The lawyer said Nelson was the key prosecution witness and there's a serious risk to him remaining in the jurisdiction. He said his client is safer abroad. No restrictions have been placed on Nelson leaving the country under the arrangement with the prosecution. Meantime, Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi is adamant that the investigation into Ramlogan and Ramdean is not political. But the opposition believes it's all a plan by the People's National Movement government to distract the public from its failures, as we hear in this CNC3 news report.
The PNM is known for distractions. As I say, let justice take its course. But on another level, we are known for distractions. We recall before elections, they charged Pastor Pandi. Recall before elections, things found in Bakshi's water tank. So there's a history of this. And I do believe the PNM is in desperation mode. They are in panic. We had a tremendous launch of our local government election campaign on Sunday. And I do believe that they will do all that they can in their desperation. It is interesting how we deal with certain matters on a selective basis with alacrity when there's so many other things outstanding.
The opposition leader says she hasn't spoken with either Ramdeen or Logan, but maintains if they committed any wrongdoing, due process must be followed. While she shied away from saying if she's standing behind the two UNC members, the opposition leader says their arrest is no indictment on her or the party.
I always remember something my former leader told me. He says Jesus Christ had 12 disciples. And at the end of the day, almost everyone betrayed him. I cannot vouch for guilt or innocence of any single human being. I can only speak for myself. And therefore, I do not take it as an indictment in my time when wrongdoing appeared or came forward.
But the Attorney General, in an immediate response, says his office did indeed pass information on to the police, but he says it has nothing to do with politics.
This is not an exercise of the Keith Rowley government. We didn't cause anything to happen. What we did is we did our jobs. We did the respective investigative aspects within the boundaries that we have. We referred whatever we had to refer in many matters, not just current matters. In many matters, we have referred these products to the respective authorities, and I expect that those authorities will be acting with the same degree of anxious alacrity that the government acts.
The Attorney General says he takes no delight in the situation facing the two attorneys, but he says the opposition leader needs to be realistic and remove politics from the equation.
Did Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar reflect upon the fact that this is the second time Mr. Ramlogan has been arrested? Did she reflect on any of those things? You see, Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar is fighting for her political survival and relevance. And Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar will do what she must. I can offer no advice to the leader of the opposition, nor any complaint. There's a freedom of political expression and freedom of political will in this country, to each his or her own.
Staying in the Twin Island Republic, the government has announced plans to bring legislation to amend the Bail Act to make it harder for gun offenders and perpetrators of other serious crimes to get bail. The amendments would result in bail being denied for 120 days. National Security Minister Stuart Young said this approach has been recommended by the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service to deal with rising gun-related crime. So far this year, more than 160 people have been murdered in Trinidad and Tobago.
We will be going to the Parliament with this act to amend the terms of bail in the following instances. Any person who is apprehended with an illegal firearm on their person will not be permitted bail for up to 120 days. So if you're held with an illegal firearm, you're not going to have a right to bail for up to 120 days. Because what we're finding is that, and then to deal with repeat offenders as well, if you are out on a charge, you're out on bail, you've been charged with an offense, and you decide you're going to commit an offense with a firearm, you're held with an illegal firearm, what we call a charge on charge. So you're out on bail whilst you have matters pending in court. You're held with an illegal firearm, well again, no bail.
Young said the amendment would require a special majority in the Parliament, and he's hopeful the opposition will support the legislation that would also prevent bail being given to individuals charged with offences under the Dangerous Drugs Act, kidnapping, sexual offences against a child, and any offence under the Sexual Offences Act that carries a jail term of at least 10 years. A Barbadian man slapped with 6 life sentences for the deaths of 6 young women in 2010 has lost his final appeal against his punishment. In a judgment delivered on Thursday, the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, dismissed Ronaldo Anderson Ali's appeal and said he would have to serve at least 25 years in prison for his crimes. His time spent on remand awaiting trial is included in that. It's the first time a recommendation was made on the minimum length of a time a prisoner serving a life sentence in Barbados should remain incarcerated before being eligible for release. Aline was charged after firebombing a clothing store in the country's capital on September 3, 2010, which led to the deaths of 6 young women. He pleaded guilty to manslaughter in 2012 and was given the 6 concurrent life sentences. He lost his first challenge when the Court of Appeal upheld the High Court's sentences, and he subsequently appealed to the CCJ, Barbados' highest court. Arlene was represented by attorney-at-law Arthur Holder, who'd argued that the 6 life sentences were excessive and that his client should have had his sentence discounted due to his early guilty plea. But in dismissing the appeal, the CCJ upheld that Arlene's sentences were neither excessive nor disproportionate nor wrong in principle, given the gravity of the offense. The Central Bank of Barbados is reporting a favorable outlook for the economy almost a year since the start of the Barbados Economic Recovery and Transformation BERT program. Central Bank Governor Cleviston Haynes gave this assessment in his quarterly economic review on Thursday, but he said there remain significant downside risks that need to be monitored and managed. These include potential for delays in large commercial projects, negative spillovers resulting from international economic developments, and the ongoing global trade tensions.
IMF has lowered its forecast for global growth from 3.5% to 3.3% over the last 6 months. The forecast for growth this year in the U.S. economy is 2.3%, and in Canada 1.5%, while the prolonged uncertainty related to Brexit has dampened growth prospects to just over 1% for the United Kingdom. The outlook for international food prices remains muted, but given geopolitical factors, there still exists uncertainty surrounding international oil prices in 2019. In recent years, the share of investment in economic activity has declined. The bank is encouraged, therefore, by the start of some new private sector investment projects, which will complement tourism activity and the impact of the new thrust in medical education services. Indeed, the rate of economic recovery will hinge on the speed of implementation of new investments and on the pace of economic diversification, which is needed to supplement traditional foreign exchange earnings.
Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, revelations that gas prices in Jamaica were being manipulated by board members of the country's oil refinery. The details after the break.
Bad. Fire one bad attack, you know, I tell us that 300K, that's a pocket money. Need a money counter for come money. IQ music, so you know the real name on the bird paper, QN Campbell, understand? Spanish Town, born at Tamsupen, Pura Winterspen, reside in Angels right now, understand? Been to schools, Greendale Basic School, Christian Primary, then Ozemart Technical High School, you know, from there we decide to say, alright.
We continue in Jamaica. Questioning by the Public Accounts Committee, the PAC, has revealed that gas prices were being influenced by board members of the country's oil refinery, Petrojam. The revelations about how the prices were being manipulated came during the PAC's grilling of Petrojam executives on Wednesday. More from TVJ's Andrea Chisholm.
Prices are mainly set by 3 people: Petrojam's general manager, chief financial officer, and the manager of logistics and marketing. They make up Petrojam's pricing committee. From time to time, though, board members attend the meetings and participate in discussions.
So the board can't instruct the committee to increase or decrease the price?
They could, but they don't. They have not tried to influence it in that way.
You ever?
From when I have been there, and I've never seen it.
That response from Petrojam's general manager, Winston Watson, forced PAC member Dr. Morris Guy to draw his attention to an email. In that document, Mr. Watson was instructed by Petrojam's former chairman, Percival Badu Singh, to cut the price of fuel. It reads, after detailed evaluation and analysis, the board hereby instructs that a $2 reduction be placed on the price of products. That is 87 and 90 gasoline, diesel, and ultra-low sulfur diesel. It was made clear there was dialogue with the marketing companies, and there was a need to regain the confidence of customers. Dr. Guy pointed out that Mr. Watson was the one who forwarded that directive to his staff on November 23, 2016, 6 days before the local government election.
I was not at Petrojam, so I'm not sure that letter was addressed to me.
But after seeing the document and consulting with Petrojam's lawyer, Mr. Watson indicated that November 23, 2016 was his last day at Petrojam as he was reassigned.
Either prior email or communication where this was discussed, there was a pushback where we said that you as an individual cannot instruct us to do that. It would have to be the board of directors.
Petrojam's management described the board chairman's request as very unusual. Nonetheless, gas prices were cut by $2 that week.
Health authorities in St. Lucia have confirmed that a cruise ship visiting the island was quarantined over fears that at least one passenger had measles. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Merlene Fredericks James said the authorities had received information from two reputable sources that there was a confirmed case of measles on the ship. She did not name the cruise ship, but said local authorities had acted under the Quarantine Act and the Public Health Act in deciding on the measure to prevent people from leaving the vessel. The chief medical officer said discussions had also been held with the Pan American Health Organization and other external agencies. Ahead in Newsline Sport, West Indies climb in the ODI and Test rankings. Stay with us.
Maybe a spot down here.
Let me just look to see what it's down here. Let me just see.
Oh, they're swimming down there. That's no good.
My first critique is there's no place to fish.
You got to fish for a fishing spot.
My second critique is there's a lot of canoes, kayakers, snorkelers.
This location is really cool. Don't get me wrong. Girls in bikinis and canoes and boards, that's summer to me, baby. But as for fishing, yeah, that's not going to happen here.
Can't get over how clear it is, man.
I feel I definitely understand where you're coming from with the prescription portion of things. I think that's something that would be modified if this would come about, because it's understandable if something is prescribed to you for health reasons. And that's the same thing with how today marijuana has come to what it is today. A lot of people have medical issues, and that's when you would get a slide or a pass, and then they would understand that, okay, you have a medical circumstance.
West Indies have been handed a rankings boost ahead of the World Cup. climbing to 8th in the ICC one-day international charts on Thursday. The Caribbean side gained 4 ratings points to move to 80, while Sri Lanka remained stagnant on 76, following the annual update that saw the removal of the 2015-2016 results and those between 2016 and 2018 being computed at 50%. For the Windies, the rise comes on the back of their outstanding performance in the recent 5-match series against world number 1 England, which tied 2-2. In the Test rankings, West Indies are now on the heels of 7th-placed Pakistan after gaining 5 points. The Jason Holder-led unit, which stunned England 2-1 in the recent 3-Test series in the Caribbean, are now on 82 points, but only 2 behind 7th-placed Pakistan, which dropped 4 ratings points. India sit on top of the rankings with 113 points, but lost 3 ratings points to see their gap on second place New Zealand shrink to 2 points after the Black Caps gained 3 points. Organizers of the Jamaica Invitational say the highly anticipated event will not be replaced by another meet. This as the 2019 event was cancelled because of financial constraints. TVJ's Denise Walters reports.
Garth Gale, the J3's General Secretary, gave a guarantee that future stagings of the Jamaica International Invitational Meet will be held after it was revealed on Monday that this weekend's 16th staging was cancelled because of budgetary constraints.
So I would want to give a guarantee that the staging for 2020 will be on.
He added that going forward, the meet that has a budget of approximately $180 million will have its issues resolved by the committee.
No. There would not be the need for any program to fill the void, because I guarantee you that the committee will be working ever so hard to ensure that what the situation this year does not befall them next year.
Gale was speaking on Tuesday at the launch of the 36th staging of the JTA Sagicor National Athletics Championships held at the JTA's headquarters.
Over in Guyana, the country's athletics boss is rubbishing claims that the government had no knowledge about the Athletics Association hosting 2 major sporting events in 2020 and 2021. HGP's Stanford Howard has that story.
Our current minister in the office of the presidency with the responsibility for sports did not know of these games. Well, or a matter of fact, if he's not considered government, well then I don't know who else is government. We know we would have made a bid last year when Dr. Norton was present, and before any communication took place between myself and the powers that be in the CARIFTA Congress, I called Dr. Norton, and he gave the blessings for me to go ahead and put our bid in and say, yes, we're interested in having it here. So wherever that rumor is coming from, I think you should dispel it immediately, because the government did know.
That was the president of the Athletics Association of Guyana, addressing rumors that the government of Guyana was unaware of the bid for the CARIFTA 2021 Games. The CARIFTA Games 2021 would be gracing the shores of Guyana for the first time and would be the 50th edition of the game. It is estimated that the game will cost between $600,000 to $700,000 US, of which a sum of $200,000 US was contributed by the National Association for College Administration Counseling, NACAC. The president of the AAG, Aubrey Hudson, gave an insight to how funds would be garnered, adding that in addition to the cost, the benefits of hosting the game should be also noted.
600 athletes, each one of them contributing $150 US in levy. That's direct payment. We're talking about funds at least 3 times that amount coming to Guyana for the CARIFTA Games. And for me, based on how well marketed, how we market it, we can have a higher income coming in from it in terms of direct revenue income.
And just before we end sports, former West Indies batting star Brian Charles Lara has celebrated another milestone. The Prince of Port of Spain turned 50 on Thursday and planned to mark his birthday with another sport he loves at his St. Anne's residence. TTT's Ruskin Mart caught up with the cricket legend.
Reaching 50 is certainly a time for celebration, and Lara is keen on doing so, as you only reach the landmark once in your lifetime.
Thursday, I suppose I'm going to get up and take my daughter to school. I want to play some golf, and I believe on Thursday evening we're going to have some boxing And that's something that I sort of got into over the last couple of years. And we're going to have Trinidad and Tobago amateur team versus a Guyana team that is flying over to box. And that's going to be, again, at the front of the house, which has happened before in the past.
The week of celebration started with the small goal football tournament on Monday night, and he takes to the cricket field to show off his natural talents in Diego Martin on Wednesday night. But he's more concerned about having his close friends and family close by for his birthday. However, he laments not having two of his closest buddies with him on the day.
An amazing relationship spanning something like, I would say, close to 42 years, 41 years, when we were little kids going to, myself and Russell, Shaka Hislop, Kona Hislop, we went to Mount Hope for a screening for football. We were just like 8, 9 years old. And I'll just give this story very quickly. When I saw Latipi, I think they needed 20 players. When I saw Latipi, I realized that they needed 19. And then we went to Tobago, and then I saw Dwight York for the first time, and I realized they only needed 18. Because, you know, those two guys were so exceptionally good back in those days that, and to continue being friends with them for so many years is just amazing.
He also had some advice for budding cricketers and sportsmen in general.
One of the biggest things that have ever happened to me was the opportunity to go to a college, something that I really wasn't thinking about, but fortunately my dad was. And I think I came out more of an all-round person. And I rely more on that experience than, say, for instance, you know, what has happened in my cricket career. My cricket career would push a door open, but I believe it will take a lot more from me to really convince people and do different things that I do at present. So for me, for any young sporting person, is to make sure that you develop that other side of your life that's actually going to take you through.
Here's wishing the dapper left-hander all the best on his special day and achieving yet another milestone in his storied life.
And from all of us at CMC News, Lara, happy birthday. And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
Bill Walton is a little bit involved, I think. What's his role there at the company?
So Bill Walton is a major contributor to our community. He's our executive chairman at San Diego Sport Innovators. He comes to our leadership dinners. He comes to our board meetings. He makes introductions. Having Bill Walton as part of this organization has given us tremendous credibility to attract other people into the organization.
Again, the major developments of this day: two opposition legislators in Trinidad, former Attorney General Anand Ramlogan and lawyer Senator Gerald Ramdean, remain in police custody, facing questions about corruption allegations, while a Queen's Counsel charged with corruption conspiracy plans to turn state witness. And in sport, West Indies climb in the ODI and Test rankings. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, subscribe to CanadaNews.com. For more of our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and check out our YouTube channel. We'll be back here again tomorrow, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.